Welcome up to Bath to find out about a story which I think is absolutely fantastic, involving these young ladies here with me. Jane, first of all, the Cozy is a company that you've formed. You make these items, these, I'd call them blankets, I'm sure you call them something else, especially for people who are in wheelchairs. So let's do that part of the story first.
Yes.
This is your idea, and you did it some time ago?
Yes, I did it about 4 to 5 years ago now. It came about because I was asked to design something for a gentleman who I had occasionally looked after, who had a condition which meant that he needed to be hoisted in and out of a wheelchair. And because of that, he needed something to be attached to the wheelchair, that so when he got in and he didn't want to have trousers and things pulled on him, he could keep himself covered, warm, keep his dignity intact. And so it was something that came about because his wife gave me 2 large pairs of fleece trousers and said, could I do something with them? Because I sew, and so it was something it was the design I came up with, which gradually, after his death, got refined, because I decided to see if there were other people out there who would actually benefit from this particular garment.
We're watching a demonstration we've already filmed, and the interesting thing is, this is the big difference, isn't it? You won't get caught in the wheels. It's thought about to be under you and over you at the same time. Very clever. This is your idea?
This was my idea, yes. And by having a strap so that it can attach to the wheelchair, it means that you can get in and out of it at any time quite easily. So it's not something that has to be lifted on, taken off. It's just something that is there. And because there is snag-free Velcro down the front, it's very quick to get out of. It's also very good because snag-free Velcro doesn't tear clothes, at what strong Velcro does.
This would be a Dragon's Den sort of thing, wouldn't it, in its day? You'd be going with that genius idea, looking for the backing, but you did it without that, so well done.
Yes, I suppose so. I never really wanted to get involved in vulture capitalists. So
now, we are getting to the other part to the story. You moved to the Isle of Man, and you're not going to do this anymore, but you have stock left, right?
I have some stock left. When I came to the Isle of Man, I decided to retire. I'm, thank goodness, of a certain age now. I can do that. And I was joining my family. COVID concentrates the mind. And so as a result, I decided to see if there was some way that my stock could benefit the island community, the island disabled community. But it doesn't actually have to be disabled, because it can be attached to an ordinary chair. For instance, in your office, when you're sitting at your computer and you're getting cold, or if you're sitting at the sewing machine and you're cold, and with prices of
I was going to say, we're all
electricity
thinking
and
about the prices now, aren't we?
now raising through the roof. So originally it was designed for wheelchairs.
Let's move this story on then. What do you want to come in at this point?
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So Jane approached us with this idea that, could we find some customers that would like to use them? I had to explain again that could only be by donations. And so that's the route we've been down. And when we first started trying to move them on in the summer, which was very hot. So it seems far more seasonal now to get a push on, because we've got lots of these that, to give out, in return for a donation.
Can I ask what is a good sort of donation? I mean,
well, obviously it varies with, everybody chooses what they do. I think because these were retailing at £55 to £65. I think the highest donation we've had is 50.
So this is going to benefit your charity, but also you're doing this book, which again this is all tied up, isn't it?
Well, at the moment, it's actually with the author now. We're helping to produce a book on the Manx Glens, which is designed for tourists. But we're including the disabled icons in, so that if you've got someone in your party that's less able, you can read ahead and decide what's suitable for their abilities.
It's just a lovely tie-up. You two meeting like this or whatever happened, and you kind of, you had the stock. You want obviously some donations. It must be fantastic. This is
just great for our service users is the fact that they can access these fantastic cozies at a price that they choose the price basically. If the size of the donation according to their means.
So this book on the Glens, when are we going to see it? When's it going to come out?
It's due to come out in the spring, ready for the tourists. And we've had financial help from DEFA, because obviously they manage the Glens, and Visit Isle of Man have also come on board, and these donations will give us that cushion as well, because printing at the moment, you just don't know what it's going to cost. The price is going through the roof.
And how was it when you did the survey about disabilities? Are Glens in a good order? I mean, is there a lot of access for disabled?
It's been quite an enlightening process, because I took my mother in a wheelchair up 6 of them, and they were the more accessible ones. Some of them are more accessible than others. And all you need to do is hit a patch of gravel, and that then becomes difficult. So it was an interesting process, but Mum really enjoyed getting out with the birds and the greens and the rivers.
Well, we'll come back in the springtime when it's ready for publication. But back to this. You got 100 or so left of you now?
About that, yes.
Okay, so we've got to find homes. How do people make the donations and get hold of these, which I think are, by the way, absolutely genius?
Well, they need to get hold of Disability Networks, talk to Beth, contact her, and she will deal with it with either posting them out or people can collect them. And I'm trying to remember where we put some in Douglas.
There's some in Circa, the multi-storey car park.
Yeah.
So and there's a collection pot in there for Disability Networks.
Because the best place is go in there and pick them up there.
If you've got transport, then pick them up in Circa. And because we're aiming, Disability Networks and Circa are aiming to work more closely together in time. Yeah. Which is great.
And can they ring anybody or anything else?
Yeah, if they ring Disability Networks on 880-888 or email us on disabilitynetworks@manx.net.
Yeah. Well, this is perfect timing for Christmas, and it doesn't have to be a Christmas present, I know, but I think just keeping warm. It's a great idea.
Yeah, I mean, my mother, she was 101 when she died, and she ended up in a home for the last 3 weeks of her life only. But when I went to visit her, she's sitting there saying, "I'm so cold," and the reason is, however many blankets she had round her shoulders or her knees, the back underneath of her was still cold. And so if you're sitting for a long time in one position, you do get cold. And it's about having that lovely warmth that comes down your back, underneath your bottom, down the back of your legs, and completely encases you. And I think that's why most of the people most of my customers used to say they are absolutely fantastic. The very first customer I ever had was at a show, and she came back the next day to me and said that she had been cold all her time when she's out, and she gets home and she's actually having to take drugs because she's so cold that she's in pain. She was in a wheelchair, and she came back the next day and said first time that had not happened, and she came with it wrapped around her. And so it just goes to show that the warmth thing was very important to a lot of people who have conditions where they get very painful about it.
Well, it's absolutely fantastic. No other ideas you got lined up? Nothing else genius-wise you're going to think about?
Lots of genius.
Retired.
Genius-wise, well, yes and no. Now I teach upholstery, so I've got a lot of students with lots of genius ideas.
Okay, so once again, just go into Circa. That's the easiest thing in Douglas, in multi-storey car park.
They come in 2 sizes. There's a medium and a large.
Oh, right.
Yeah, and they're all navy blue.
Yes, I'm sorry, that's the last of my stock. They're all navy blue.
Yeah, very practical colour.
Yeah, well, it is. Yes, I used to make them in other colours, but that's the navy ones that are left.